What's good, everybody? It's Mike Reed, and welcome to My Life Ministries, where leadership, influence, faith, and evolvement are the principles that we look to live by every single day of our life. And by us living those principles, it helps us to help youth to become motivated young leaders to implement faith every day in their lives as well. Like moving from one house to another house is can be challenging. It takes time. It takes planning. It's a process. And sometimes it's a long, drawn out process to move from one house to another. And a lot of times when we are making that move, it's something that we are excited to move into a new home, but at the same time, many of us, we hang on to memories and things like that we have, in the former house, and memories that we have in the house that we're getting ready to move from. A lot of times, let's just say, for instance, it could be a house that that you raise your kids in. It could be a home that you grew up in. It can be a home that was passed down from your great grandmother to your grandmother to your mother, etc. The house could have a lot of meaning, and it has a lot of history. A lot of good things and a lot of bad things happened in that house. But it comes to a point to where you know that you need to move. That you may need bigger space. That you may need better opportunities. That the house that that you're staying in, that it may need maintenance, it may need work, it may be outdated, and everything that is happening in that house is pushing you to move into something different and to move into something better. But because of the history and because of the things that you've done there, and just the history that you have there, you're comfortable when you don't want to move away from that house, because you're afraid that if you move away from that house, that if, even though that you're moving into better, that it just won't feel right, and that moving away from comfort into an uncomfortable situation is scary, because it's new, it's different. Sometimes when you move into a new house, the bills may be higher. It may take more, to manage it. You get new neighbors, you meet new people. It's a lot of things that come with the transition and with the move as you move into something different and move into something better, and that's where God has us at right now. God is telling us that we need to move away from this former house. We need to move away from this former place that we're in, so that God can move us into a new house that carries everything that he has for us. A lot of times that older house, although it's memories and although it's history, a lot of times it can carry depression. A lot of times it can carry guilt. A lot of times it can carry poverty. A lot of times it can carry depression. It can carry suicide. It can carry so many different things. It can even just carry procrastination and just being stagnant. It can carry being in prison. It can carry so many different things in that house, but because it's comfortable, we don't want to leave that position, and we don't want to leave that house to move into something better. And even though that it's time for you to move, you still are holding on, and you still lie there in that place because it's something that you don't want to let go of. So when we get in those positions, and we know that God is calling us to do something different, and God is pushing us into a different level, into this house that he has built for us, this perfect house that he has built for us, we're still not moving. So what God has to do is God has to step in, and God has to give you an eviction notice. And when he gives you that eviction notice, he goes and he places it on your door. He goes and he's consistently knocking at your door, and he's telling you that you have to get out, because he knows that if he does not step in and he does not put action behind it, and he does not push you, he knows that you're not going to do it. So in other words, if God has to come down and he has to put you in that situation to where he has to evict you, that must mean that what he's calling you to is something that has to have you there in order for it to work. It's something that he needs to happen in his kingdom. It's something that he needs to happen in your life. So we have to move away from the former place that we're staying in, and move away from all of that, all of those things that we think that are these memories, and all of these things that we think that are, is history. And, when I'm comfortable here, when I know how to navigate my way through this life, I know how to navigate my way through this house. I know how everything works in this house. But God does not want us there anymore. God wants us to move. He wants us to transition because he's trying to put you into something better. He's trying to put you into something better. And I know that it's scary. I know that there's fear that's behind it. I know that there's even doubt that's behind it. I know that you're clueless to a lot of to a lot of it. You don't know the full on direction, but you just have to learn to trust God in the move. You have to learn how to trust God in the move. And sometimes you think that you have to pack up your bags and put everything in boxes, and you're like, I've been staying here for so long, and I've been here for I have to pack this up, and I have to keep everything. God doesn't want you to keep everything. God wants you to create a pile so that you can take this stuff to the dump. He wants you to get rid of it. He wants you to throw it all away. He doesn't want you to take anything from that former house into this new house. God wants to give you everything new. He wants to give you everything new. He wants to give you brand new ideas. He wants to give you, a brand new direction. He wants to give you favor in a different way. He wants to give you resources in a different way. He wants to teach you more. God has so much prepared for you and so much planned for you in this new house. But you have to let the old house go. You have to step away from the former house, and you have to step into the new home that God is creating for you, because this is where he wants you at, but you have an eviction notice that's on your door. So what God is telling you is that he's only giving you 30 days. He's only giving you 30 days. He's only giving you a short amount of time, for you to answer what he's telling you to do and what he's asking of you to do. He's telling you, are you willing to move? Are you willing to transition? Because if you are, I need you to do it now. Because if you don't do it now, what's going to happen is that I'm going to have to go in there, and God's going to have to shake up some things, and then he's just going to have to move you out. And what does that mean? That means that all of your stuff is just set out on the street. All of your stuff is just set out in the community. It's set out in the public. And what happens is, because you did not move, you're just going to be surprised by going home, and you're going to begin to see all of this stuff, and you're going to be confused. And then what you're going to do is you're going to say, Lord, can you please help me? Lord, can you know, I'm ready, God. I'm ready. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to do what you called me to do. And I'm ready to act right now, God. And God's going to sit back and say, I've been pushing you and pushing you and pushing you because I needed you then. I needed you then, because we can't get it twisted or get it confused when we think because God is calling us to do something that he won't use somebody else if you don't move. If you don't move according to the plan of God, and God needs you in this time, and you don't move to this new home that God is creating for you, in this new position that God is putting you in, you better believe if God has to use somebody else, he will. He will. He loves you. He loves you, and he chose you, and he's created this perfect path for you to walk on. But at the same time, he's giving you the choice to choose it. He's giving you the choice to choose it. So what God is doing, because he loves you so much, is that he's giving you an eviction notice. And he's giving you that eviction notice, and he's saying, if you don't move right now, I need you to go. I need you to push. I don't need you to worry about boxes. I don't need you to worry about tape. I don't need you to worry about storage. I don't need you to worry about anything. All of this right here in this former house is trash. It is all trash. So I need you to just leave it there. I need you to get up, and I need you to go, because I have something brand new planned for you, and I have something brand new that is prepared for you. So are you willing to go? Because I have been asking you for years. I have been pushing you for years. I have been telling you for years. So are you willing to go now? Because now you force my hand. Because you have to know I love you enough. And what's going on in the world and everything that's going on, they need you. They need you, and I need to use you in a way so that you can go out here and you can minister the way that I need you to minister. And God is pushing you in that direction. So are you willing to make the transition? Are you willing to move into this new house and leave the former house behind? God wants you to understand that, but he's giving you a certain amount of time. We don't have time to waste. We don't have time to play. God does not have time to play because he's moving. It's rapidly, it's quickly. He's speeding everything up because he's like, there's people that I've called that are not doing what I asked them to do. There's people that I've called that have got caught up with compromise, and they have got caught up with the world, and they have got caught up with, with idols, and they have got caught up with self, and they have got caught up with all of these things that they have forgotten about me. So I'm calling you. I'm calling you at this moment so that I can shine my light through you. But are you willing to accept it? Are you willing to pay attention to the eviction notice that God has given you from this former house so that you can move into something better, so that God can use you the way that he wants to use you? We got to think. We got to wake up, men and women of God. We got to be focused in this time. We got to make sure that we're hearing exactly what God is saying in this moment. This is what God wants for us. He's pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. So it's time for us to go. It's time for us to go. Everything that God speaks to you in your quiet time, things that you don't even share with people, you know exactly what God is telling you to do. Do not be afraid of the transition. Do not be afraid of the move. Walk boldly by faith into the new house that God has prepared for you. The eviction notice is waiting at your door. That's your sign. That's your sign that you do not have much time. So accept what God has for you now. Accept it right now before it's too late. Before it's too late and you miss out on what God has for you. I just wanted to get on here and encourage somebody and let them know that don't be afraid of the move and the transition into the new house. Let the former house stay where it is. Let it stay there. Leave it all there, because God has something so much better, something greater for you in this new house. You guys have a wonderful and a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon.